Today, I'm going to talk about some simple home tests that you can do to determine if you may have adrenal fatigue. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front, medically, they don't recognize adrenal fatigue. They do recognize that there are adrenal dysfunction diseases like Addison's disease, where your body's not producing any more adrenal hormones. On the flip side, you have Cushing's disease, which you're pumping out a lot of cortisol. So it's a hypercortisol situation. But my question is, why can't you have different problems in between? You don't just wake up one day with Addison's disease or Cushing's syndrome. They start at a certain point and gradually get worse. But medically, they don't recognize these in-between conditions, or shall we say subclinical versions of these problems. And I think probably one of the reasons it's very hard to diagnose because it doesn't show up on a blood test. So since the adrenal glands are intimately involved with the autonomic nervous system, I'm going to show you several tests that you can do at home to kind of get a clue on what's going on with your autonomic nervous system. And I'm talking about the sympathetic nervous system, which is the flight or fight, and then the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. And so first, let's just mention the symptoms with adrenal fatigue, okay? You have insomnia, that's a big one. You have dizziness when you stand up too fast, okay? You have brain fog. You have low tolerance to stress. You cannot tolerate stress as well as you used to. You might have low libido. You may have allergies or asthma. Your immune system is poor. You may get sick easily because your resistance is on the low side. You may have inflammation because when you run out of the adrenal function, you lose those powerful anti-inflammatories, and then you end up with inflammatory conditions. So anything that says itis is an inflammatory condition. And you may have poor focus because with the adrenals, you're kind of scattered. You're all over the place. You're solving problems 24/7. And so it's very difficult to put your attention on one thing over a period of time without shifting to another topic. So that relates to completing things. You might start a lot of things, but you just don't complete them because you get distracted. Now, the adrenals are two little glands sitting on top of the kidney, deep inside your abdomen, and they respond to stress. They help your body respond to stress states. So they adapt all these different body functions to a stress situation. Now, the problem nowadays is that a lot of people are under chronic stress. They're not necessarily being chased by a tiger, but they are feeling like they're being chased by a tiger 24/7 because they have mental stress. And the challenge is if you have all this mental stress without the physical way of releasing the stress, you're not running away from anything, you're just sitting there, the stress can build up and it can affect your sleep. It can affect a lot of different things. So let's go through 7 home tests, okay? The first one is called Ragland's, very simple test. You need a blood pressure cuff and you need a piece of paper and a pen, okay? What you're gonna do is you're gonna take your blood pressure lying down while you're relaxed, and you're gonna record that. And then you're gonna stand up right away and recheck your blood pressure. Now, normally the top number, called the systolic, should go up by 6 to 10 points. But with adrenal fatigue, it's going to either go down or it's going to go really, really high. And I've seen it both situations. So when you stand up, you should normally have this certain amount of adaptation. And so if there's no adaptation mechanism, like the adrenals are weak, your blood pressure might crash down like, I don't know, 10 points, 20 points. I've seen it 30 points. So when you stand up, when your blood pressure drops that much, that is a major adrenal issue. So you can kind of get an indication of how bad your adrenals are by what happens to your blood pressure. So that's one test, okay? The second test is the iris test. Another name for that, if you wanted to know, is called the paradoxical pupillary response test. So you're really looking at the autonomic nervous system control as far as the muscles that allow light in the eye. Now, if you ever look at the eye when you go from a dark room to maybe a bright light, your body's going to restrict the excess light going into the eye. If you're out in the sun and you're looking up, your pupil is going to constrict, okay? So it's going to lessen the amount of light into the eye. So you're first going to get your eyes used to the dark, okay, for maybe, I don't know, about maybe a minute or so, okay? And you're going to be next to a mirror. So you don't want to shine the light directly in the eye. shine it slightly to the side. And when you shine the light into the eye, you're looking with your other eye what occurs with the eye that you're shining light into. Normally, when you shine light into the eye, it should constrict. And the constricted pupil, the little black little hole in the center, should maintain that constriction for at least 30 seconds, okay? But if the adrenal glands are weak, because you have the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic playing tug of war on your eyes, then you're going to notice that you're not going to be able to maintain that constriction. You're going to see a couple things. You might see that the eye kind of goes up and down, like back and forth. Okay, I've seen that. Or you might see that it's constricted, then within 10 seconds, it starts to vasodilate, get bigger. So if it's not maintaining this constricted state while you're holding the light, okay, into the eye, then there could be some adrenal weakness involved. All right, test number 3 is pretty simple. This one, you're just going to hold your breath. Okay, you're going to completely hold your breath. You can put your fingers over your nose, and you can just hold your breath. Normally, if the adrenal glands are good, you should be able to hold your breath for at least 40 seconds. But the worse your adrenals are, the less you can hold your breath. You may find that you're only able to hold your breath for 10 seconds or 15 seconds or 20 seconds and you're gasping for air. That could indicate that the adrenal glands are weak, because if your body's in a stress state, you just cannot hold on to air that long. Test number 4. Basically, you're going to just observe how you recover after exercise, okay? Because adrenal fatigue cases don't recover after exercise too well. Now, you can check your pulse rate before, during, and after the exercise. And if the adrenal glands are weak, the pulse rate just will not come down. It kind of stays higher for a longer period of time. Or you can just subjectively sense how you feel after you work out. Normally, if the adrenal glands are good, you're going to recover after exercise. But if your adrenal glands are weak, it's going to take a long time to recover. You're going to be sore after exercise. It might take days before you recover. So your recovery has a lot to do with your adrenal function. Let's go to number 5. Your ability to tolerate stress. And you are the best person to judge for that. The question is, can you tolerate stress? Can you be there comfortably without being irritable or flying off the handle, okay, or breaking down? If you can't tolerate stress that well, chances are your adrenals are not coping. All right, number 6, your ability to handle inclines, like climbing up a hill, going upstairs, any type of exercise where you're doing inclines is going to be pretty bad if your adrenal glands are fatigued, because simply you're stressing the adrenal. In fact, you may find just by standing up, you get dizzy or you faint. So that's just poor adrenal function. And lastly, number 7, a really good test to determine what's going on with your adrenals is just how well you sleep. You get up in the middle of the night, specifically around 2:00 a.m., then we know cortisol could be involved. Or can you go to sleep, maintain a comfortable sleep, and wake up feeling refreshed? That's a real good indication to tell you if you have healthy adrenals or not. Now, the best next video for you to watch is what to eat if you have adrenal fatigue. And I put that up right here. Check it out.